morning, I'm Jolene Tansoni and welcome to Newsfile. Brandon Martin will have your weather forecast later and Kira O'Loughlin with your sports. But first, let's take a look at today's top stories. The trial for the Brentwood stabbing deaths that left 5 people dead last April is now underway. Friends and family of the victims packed the courtroom as the preliminary hearing began. 23-year-old Matthew DeGrood is accused of stabbing his friends to death at a house party. The hearing will determine if there's enough evidence to proceed with a full trial. One man is dead after a vehicle-pedestrian collision north of Calgary. RCMP say the 61-year-old victim was trying to cross the QE2 north of Crossfield. He died at the scene. The driver of the vehicle suffered minor injuries. Police say no charges will be laid on the driver. The RCMP will show MP's October 22nd terrorist shooter video today. The video by shooter Michael Zihaf-Bibo was made before he killed Canadian soldier Nathan Cirillo and stormed Parliament Hill. The RCMP will show the video at a Public Safety Committee meeting in the House of Commons. RCMP Commissioner Bob Paulson says he wants Canadians to see the footage that he describes as Zihaf-Bibo explaining his actions. Mayor Naheed Nenshi and city councillors have the city budget in mind today. Lindsay Dunn has more.
What we've really done this year is we've turned the process on its head to really start with the public.
Calgary City Council is doing something different this year. They're asking Calgarians to give their 2 cents when it comes to the city's budget. They're working with the public to help get the knowledge they need when it comes to making decisions about the budget.
So we're sharing information about the project, but actually encouraging active participation in the process and in the transparency of the opportunity for the conversation with citizens.
The budget process is in 3 phases. Phase 1, where Calgarians gave their input on the new process itself. Now Phase 2 is where citizens have opportunities to discuss the budget. The mayor is thrilled about the new process.
I'm really excited about this. And the reason I am excited about it is because what we saw during the election and what we've seen since then is that people are really willing to engage as fellow problem solvers, not just as members of the public.
City Council is now distributing a budget kit. This is for Phase 3, where Calgarians get to fill out their own budget and submit it to City Council. They can either submit it online or actually hand in the physical documents. They have between May 6th and May 27th. For St. Newsfile, I'm Lindsay Dunn.
The Southern Alberta woman accused of injuring and endangering dogs will appear in court today in Lethbridge. 55-year-old April Dawn Irving says she's received death and torture threats since the charges have been laid. Irving was charged after RCMP found 5 dead dogs on her property in January. The SPCA seized more than 200 dogs that it alleges were malnourished and living in horrible conditions. There will be a candlelight vigil held near Marathorpe tonight to mark 10 years since 4 RCMP officers were killed on duty. Friends, family, and RCMP members will gather at the park created in honor of Constables Anthony Gordon, Leo Johnston, Brock Myrell, and Peter Sheeman. The 4 were shot and killed by James Roscoe while guarding a crime scene on his rural property. Roscoe took his own life after shooting the officers. The man who was once Ontario and Manitoba's Deputy Minister of Education has pleaded guilty to 3 child pornography charges. The former university professor Benjamin Levin admitted to making written child pornography, counseling a person to commit a sexual assault, and possession of child porn. The investigation began in mid-2012 after Toronto officials were contacted by authorities in New Zealand and later police in London, Ontario. Prices for parking your vehicle in Calgary transit lots are changing. Jerry McDonald has the story.
The city has scratched the $3 parking fee at LRT stations and brought in some reserve stalls for a fee. The first week did have its share of problems. On Monday, some non-paying parkers parked in reserve stalls, causing it to fill up and block out paying customers. This was blamed on the reserve section signs being too small. Calgary Transit says the problem has been fixed.
We haven't received any complaints since Monday from any of our folks who have actually paid for a reserve stall to say that they haven't been able to get into one.
The city also says the Calgary Parking Authority is now giving out tickets for those who don't follow the rules.
They are writing tickets to people found in the reserve spots who haven't paid the $70 a month fee.
The parking lots are now packed at C-train stations again. Seems that ridership on the train will go up with the new system.
I go to the University of Calgary and the parking there is ridiculous, so I might, start parking here and just take the train to the U of C that way.
There is still concern buses that take commuters from their home to the station may lose ridership.
We certainly gained a lot of ridership on our feeder bus routes during when we had the $3 fee in place. A lot of people were taking feeder buses as opposed to paying the $3 fee.
Yeah, I think the train would be more busy for sure, and buses would probably be less busy.
The best thing we would like to see is people take buses to our C-train stations and then make a connection onto the trains from there and leave your car at home.
Many people at the Crowfoot LRT station were still unaware parking is now free. Signs are still up saying the payment is required, although the machines are out of service. For State Newsfile, I'm Jeremy MacDonald.
A body recovered last week on sea ice in Newfoundland has been identified as a 17-year-old boy who went missing mid-February. An autopsy determined that James Poker died of hypothermia. No signs of foul play were present. Poker's body was recovered on Wednesday about 30 kilometers from Natwashish, the community where he lived. It is unknown why the boy walked so far from home. Premier Jim Prentice is looking to overhaul how our province bargains with public sector workers. Prentice wants to review legislation that prevents civil servants from striking. The Premier looks to avoid lucrative settlements based on immediate pressures that come from strikes. Prentice says Alberta needs to review a ban on public sector workers that dates back to the Peter Lougheed era. With weather warming up and spring just around the corner, potholes are everywhere in Calgary. Kate Hutchinson reports.
A common sight on Calgary's roads, potholes. But with all the snowy weather, city crews are busy clearing roads rather than fixing them. But the city says they understand there are thousands around the city and will get to them once the spring weather starts.
But we actually do pothole repairs year-round. Often we need pavement or the holes to actually be clean and dry. So when it's snowing or when there's a lot of moisture on the ground, that makes it hard. So quite often in the winter we'll do sort of temporary patches and then come back and once it's warmer and do permanent patches on those holes.
But for the time being, there are some things you can do to stay safe.
Again, you're driving, when you're driving and where you're driving and that type of thing. And if you see the potholes, if you can avoid them, if you do hit a pothole, if you can slow down, hit it right on if you can, and just be very, very careful.
Calgary has 5,000 kilometers of road, so it could be a while before your bumpy ride turns into smooth sailing. Kate Hutchinson, State Newsfile.
The mysterious tunnel discovered near a Pan Am Games venue in January has been determined a recreational project. A conservation officer came across the tunnel and police began to investigate who built it and why. Police identified the two men responsible who said they just wanted to build a tunnel. The case is now closed as police say they ruled out possible criminal intent or danger to public safety. The streets of Stephen Ave are sure to be full of foodies this weekend. The Big Taste Food Festival kicks off today and runs for the next 10 days. Restaurants will feature wine pairings and special 3-course meals. 4 different Alberta theatre productions will be featured at the Theatre Junction during the event. Singles in Winnipeg can now do their grocery shopping and shop for a date as well. The Osborne Village Safeway is holding their first ever singles night that starts at 7 p.m. and goes till close. More than 1,200 people indicated that they'll be attending the Facebook event. A Safeway manager says there will be a DJ and door prizes. Those are your top stories. Sports is still ahead with Kira O'Loughlin, but just after the break, Brandon Martin will have today's weather and tomorrow's forecast.
But won't break the bank? Take a trip to the Calgary Farmers Market and try a free sample of Simple Simon pies. With over 2 dozen sweet and savory pies to choose from, you're sure to satisfy even the pickiest of eaters. And since you won't be able to resist just getting one, Simple Simon pies are cheaper by the dozen. Already cooked, these pies can be enjoyed hot in store or frozen to heat up for any occasion. So come on into the Calgary Farmers Market and get your free Simple Simon sample today.
Bento Sushi offers a healthy alternative lunch on the state campus. Located in the Aldred Center food court, you can pick up a 6-piece California roll for $4.99. Or try a signature Bento Sushi combo for $9.99. Throw in a soft drink to complete your lunch. And there's more! Bento Sushi has rice bowls and soup too. Visit Bento Sushi in the Aldred Center today for the best sushi on the state campus.
Good morning, Calgary, and welcome back. I'll have your local forecast in just a minute, but right now, let's take a look at weather across the nation. Looking to the west here, we're seeing an overcast, cloudy skies. Vancouver coming in at 9. Edmonton, -11. I'm sorry, Regina, we got a few flurries for you today at -8. And Winnipeg, also overcast and partly cloudy at -4. Let's head to the east now. All right, sorry, same news for you over there, but at least we don't have the snow. Partly cloudy all across the east coast. We got St. John's coming in at 6. Halifax, -3, -6 in Montreal. But let's take a look at some warmer climates across the pond.
Beautiful in Barbados, 23. Chihuahua, Acapulco, 28. Get out the hula skirts in Honolulu, 26. Miami, 25. Phoenix, 12. And in Viva Las Vegas, it's coming in a little chilly at 14.
I know. We wish we were all in one of those destinations right now, but we're here. So let's take a look at our local conditions right now. Right now we're sitting overcast, a high of -7. That wind's coming in north with 37 kilometers an hour, but we're hoping to heat up by the mid-afternoon. Now let's take a look at weather in our province. Right up at the top there, we got Fort McMurray with some light flurries at -15. Grand Prairie, -8. Banff, we got -7 and partly cloudy, and going southern down into Lethbridge with -4. Let's take a look at our overnight. We're looking at a low tonight of -20, chilly, but a high tomorrow of -19, not really better, but sunny skies, so we're going to see those clouds clear away. That's all I have for weather right now. Back to you, Jolene.
Thanks, Brandon. The Flames' playoff dreams may take a hit. Stay with us. Sports is next with Kira O'Loughlin right after the break.
Have you ever watched the Nature Channel and thought to yourself, damn, that looks tasty? Here at Safari Meats, we know how you feel, and we aim to serve that urge. We have the finest cuts of buffalo for the best price in town. Wings so fresh the birds are still flying. Feel like something adventurous? Try our game meatloaf. At least 3 species guaranteed. Is there something you want that's not on our shelves? Contact us and we can have it on your plate in a week.
Are experiencing heartbreak after their worst fears became reality. Captain Mark Giordano has been called the heart and soul of his hockey team, and he will be out for the remainder of the NHL season. A torn bicep tendon means Giordano will have to have surgery, and recovery time will take approximately 4 to 5 months. Giordano is one of the league's leaders in ice time and is currently tied second in points amongst defensemen. The Flames are in Detroit taking on the Red Wings tonight. Golf is back in full swing. While Calgarians wait for the snow to melt away, the PGA Honda Classic in Florida kept excitement alive this past weekend. #1 golfer in the world, Rory McIlroy, missed the cut for the first time in 22 events, and a tropical storm washed away play on Saturday. The drama culminated in a final round 3-hole playoff between tour veteran Padraig Harrington and rookie Daniel Berger. Harrington claimed his first victory in 7 years and qualifies for the Masters after missing out in 2014. The murder trial of former New England Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez continues this week. On Tuesday, a maid who cleaned Hernandez's home said she testified saying she saw him messing with the security camera in his basement the day after Odin Lloyd's murder. Lloyd's body was discovered in an industrial park on June 18, 2013, 1 mile from Hernandez's home. He had been shot 6 times. Spring is just around the corner. In anticipation of people seeking some new adventures, SAIT is now offering a scuba diving course. Jaden Heights has more.
Coolest dive functionally is every time I'm underwater. I couldn't say one is better than the other. Each one has their high points and their best memories.
One of the coolest parts of scuba diving is that you're exploring part of the world only a very limited number of people have seen. But if you want a deep water dive on your own, you need to get certified through a series of supervised dives.
And in those 4 open water dives, they become certified as a PADI open water diver. So they are now fully certified to scuba dive within reason around the world and up to 60 feet.
Swimming and exploring is just a small part of scuba diving. The next step is figuring out all of the equipment and how it all works. But you don't need to worry if you don't have the equipment quite yet. The SAIT course supplies it and teaches you how to use it.
Every about 3 to 5 years, we'll see a major turn on gear. What do we provide in that gear is functioning when a student shows up. All they need is a swimsuit, a towel, and a lock for their locker. We'll provide fins, weights, weight belts, mask, snorkel, BCD, and tanks. So it's a fairly equipment-heavy requirement for us, but it keeps the program working.
Classes start next week, so don't wait. Because what you don't know is that Alberta has the most certified scuba divers in the country. And there are lots of places to dive right here in southern Alberta. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Jaden Heights.
It was not the rematch the Calgary Roughnecks had been hoping for. The Roughnecks traveled to Rochester this past Saturday to take on their former playoff foes for the first time this season. The Nighthawks quickly gained a 7-1 lead, with Roughnecks goaltender Frankie Scagliano allowing 5 goals on only 11 shots. Calgary's Sean Evans helped battle back with a hat trick and 5 assists, but the team came up short, losing 12-11. Head coach Kurt Malowski says playoff spot is still within reach for his team, and no one in his group is giving up on each other just yet. The Canadian women's speed skating team is hoping that fervor from the 2010 Vancouver Olympic Games will help keep fan interest in their sport. Angela Tassoni has more.
Great moments that came to us from Vancouver 2010 Olympic Games were brought to us by the athletes who will be competing here this weekend.
There have been many changes in the last year to the Canadian speed skating team, and those new faces and efforts made this season 7 a strong crew to watch. In the wake of the shifts, though, the team has worked hard to keep their game strong on the ice.
For me, it's all about being in the moment and focusing on what I'm doing right at that moment. I'm not trying to think about how many laps I've got left or how much my legs are hurting or thinking about any of the other pairs. It's all about what I'm doing, and that's when I pull out my best performances.
The team's changes come after an amazing performance at the 2010 Vancouver Olympics, where they took home 5 medals and inspired the nation to take a second look at winter sports.
I mean, hopefully people still have that Olympic fever and that people come out to the event and support us, and I think that there'll be a lot of people still excited, just because after an Olympic Games the awareness of sports is raised, and so there's more people into winter sports and speed skating.
Coming off of a great Olympic year, Canada's speed skating team has once again what we have behind me: home ice advantage. That advantage means the team will have those Canadians who fell in love with the sport, as well as the family and friends to help them bring it home. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Angela Tassoni.
Mike Fisher of the Nashville Predators and his country star wife, Carrie Underwood, are proud new parents of a baby boy. Isaiah Michael Fisher is 1 week old today and is already gaining fans on social media after his mother posted an adorable picture announcing his birth. Fisher and Carrie Underwood have been married since 2010. Wow, Mike Fisher, having an amazing year.
Really, hey, Nashville Predators are doing really good. They'd have to really mess it up to miss the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I think they're almost guaranteed a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And
I think that baby sure is lucky. She must get the best lullabies ever. Huh?
that is so true. That is so true. Married to Carrie Underwood, killing it in the NHL.
Maybe their baby will try out for American Idol.
Hey, possible one day.
Wouldn't that be great? Way to win at life, Mike Fisher.